Hi everyone, welcome to the Alaska Weather Show. This is meteorologist Joel Curtis for Monday, June 24th. Starting out with our hazardous weather, we have a dense smoke advisory for the Fairbanks area and the Tanana Flats, and that'll be until 10 a.m. on Wednesday. We also have a flood advisory for the Chilkat River, that's near Haines and Klukwan, and that's due to snowmelt. And that'll be in effect until 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And then we also have a flood advisory for the Skwentna and Yentna rivers, also again for snowmelt, and that will be until 7 p.m. on noon on Thursday. So our fire weather update. First of all, we've got another round of late afternoon and tonight thunderstorms across much of Alaska. Yesterday we had just short of 7,000 lightning strikes. There's a number of new fires with about 100 fires active right now, and there are at least 8 that I know of staffed fires. That means we have fire crews out working on them. And this is also a good opportunity for holdover fires. These are fires that perhaps get an ignition, and then what happens is some wind and some warm temperatures and sunshine comes along, and they start back up again. So we'll be on the lookout for those too. High temperatures in the 70s and 80s, warmest in the interior. Overall wind pattern is light, but thunderstorms can produce gusty, erratic winds, as we all know. So the outlook is the warm weather will persist over mainland Alaska through the week, and including afternoon and evening thunderstorms, and some of these even last into the night and early morning hours. And then be careful with any fire activities. We're not at extreme fire conditions, but we are at high. So please be careful with any form of ignition. Okay, looking at the fire danger, the Yukon Flats area is the extreme with the grass adjective, but note that the whole northern 2/3, with the exception of some portions of the Brooks Range, are in that very high to high category. Also, we've got a few areas down by Bristol Bay. Southeast Alaska is looking good on grass. And then for the spruce adjective, we see that there are extreme values, again, in the Yukon Flats area down into the Tanana area. And then also we have high for, again, most of the northern 2/3 of the state. Otherwise, we also have high spruce adjective for the Susitna Valley as well, and a little bit into Bristol Bay. So here's our satellite image. We've got one system just starting to move into the Bering Sea. From the southwest. We have another low pressure system that's moving off to the east, south of the Gulf of Alaska. As you can see, there's quite a bit of clear sky, but also all those white specks that you see are developed cumulus. And let me run that loop again so that you can see what's going on. So for today's weather, we've got a 990 millibar low, and it's just setting out to cross the Aleutians. 1018 millibar high, about in the vicinity of St. Matthew Island or so. We do have thunderstorms indicated across much of the state. 1007 millibar low in the central interior, and that's what we call a thermal low. It's caused by heat, and air rising gives lower pressure. And then we also have that system well south of the Gulf that's moving off toward the east very slowly. For tonight, that low just starts to make landfall in the Aleutians at 982 millibars. There's some precipitation and wind out in front of it, but there's still a lot of cloudy skies and also smoke in the area. For the mainland interior, a little bit clearer as you get farther toward the northwest. And then also that system continues to move east, south of the Gulf of Alaska, and a 1021 millibar high in the Gulf. So tomorrow, again, looking for thunderstorms, anywhere from the Brooks Range on down through the Tanana Flats and into the upper Tanana Valley area. And then we also have that low, and that has moved in now into the Bering Sea, 976 millibars, and just the southwest coast is starting to feel some of that precipitation and wind that goes along with that. Still, a 1021 millibar high remains in the Gulf of Alaska, and that thermal trough, once again, that heat-caused trough across the central interior associated with all those cells that are building up. And then on Wednesday, that low deepens to 977 millibars, not too far southwest of the Pribilof. The wind regime is going to be windier in the Aleutians, some of the Alaska Peninsula, and especially those ocean capes in the southwest and the western coast, like Cape Romanzoff or Cape Neuenham, is where you're going to start seeing those wind gusts. Also, a secondary feature develops on the front, 1,006 millibars south of Kodiak Island, and that onshore wind is probably going to bring a little rain to Kodiak Island, and then there we go again. We've got that thermal trough across the central interior and lots of thunderstorms, 1020 millibar high out over the Gulf. Not a whole lot of precipitation registered for the southeast, but you can see that there's a little bit with some flow for the mountainous areas of the southeast in the far north and the far eastern sections. So for our low temperatures tomorrow morning, looking still some 50s across a lot of the central interior, but down into the 30s for the north slope. You might see a few readings in the 40s for south central, mainly in the 50s for southeast Alaska. And then as you get out and toward that precipitation and wind, some of those temperatures are in the 40s, like 40 degrees for St. Paul Island, 49 for Kodiak. And then highs for Tuesday afternoon. We're seeing a lot of 50s, 60s in the North Slope area, and then what we're going to see is temperatures getting into the 80s across the central interior. Lots of readings in the upper 70s, a few readings as we get further west in the upper 60s or so. In the southwest, they start to feel that those clouds and wind, and those high temperatures will be in the upper 50s or so. South central, plenty of temperatures in the 60s, and especially the Susitna Valley into the 70s. And then as you look over toward southeast, Skagway will probably get to about 74, but the rest of the southeast is in the 60s, and even a couple of readings in the upper 50s or so. And then out by that system that's moving into the Bering Sea, there's a few high temperatures in the 40s. So then for Wednesday morning, again, a couple of readings in the 30s along the north slope, but generally in the 40s. Low temperatures in the 50s, almost to 60 in the central interior. But then we get some more like normal cooler temperatures for south central in the 50s and upper 40s, in the 50s over in the Panhandle. And then those, again, readings right around 50 or so along the southwest coast into the west coast, 40 for St. Lawrence Island and 41 for the Pribilof. So our high temperatures Wednesday afternoon, well into the 60s for a lot of areas in the North Slope, although you'll still see some readings right along the coast into the 50s. Note those temperatures in the central interior, particularly the Yukon Flats. That's what's keeping our fire danger at least in the high category, and getting up in the upper 80s or so. So real warm day, and of course that means thunderstorms too, because you got all that lift from that warm air rising. As you get further south, however, you see a lot of readings in the 60s, 75 for Skagway, however, being further inland. And then as you go out into the Bering Sea, temperatures in the 40s. So for our 6 to 10 day outlook for June 30th through July 4th, almost a little signal cooler than normal along the west coast. That that goes along with that upper low pressure system that's been out there for a long, long time, and that system that has just moved into the Bering Sea is a typical signature of what's going on in the Bering Sea with those cooler waters out there too. But note that the high probability of well above normal temperatures for the northeastern sections of the state, let's say the northeastern quarter or so, plenty of warm temperatures down through south central and even into the northern panhandle. And then for 6 to 10 day for precipitation above normal, and that's usually going to be convection, okay, some of our cells developing. But the general signal is for a slight chance of above normal precipitation for much of the state. And then for 8 to 14 days, we see some cooling in the west. And again, that's that persistent upper level low pressure system that's been over the Bering Sea. You just can't stop that thing for some reason. But also look at southeast with cooler than normal temperatures, and only the northeastern section has a chance of being above normal. And precipitation, a general signal of above normal precipitation. So that wraps it up. So again, those warm temperatures, thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening, and some lasting even through the night, and that a cooler and wetter pattern is about to take place along the west coast. So thanks for tuning in. Please stay safe out there.